You don't have to yell. You don't have to explain. You don't have to defend yourself. To take someone's power away, you just have to stop reacting, because in every emotional game, your reaction is the prize. They push you to feel guilt, fear, anger, shame. So you'll move, fold, submit. But what if you didn't move? What if your silence wasn't empty, but full of control? What if your calm wasn't passive, but strategic? That's emotional disarming. It's when your presence is quiet, but so still, so solid, that no one can find a way in. In this video, we'll break down how to disarm anyone, not through words, but through energy, through emotional stillness. Part 1. Why people use emotions to control you. Control doesn't always come from commands. It often comes through emotion, not authority, not power, but guilt, but fear, but the pressure to respond. Most people don't realize you're not being controlled by words. You're being controlled by the way those words make you feel. They say, "After everything I've done for you, I guess I just don't matter. I didn't expect you to be so cold. You're too sensitive. You always take things the wrong way." These aren't statements. They're triggers. Their goal isn't clarity, it's reaction. Because the moment you react, you've surrendered your center. Guilt makes you explain. Fear makes you comply. Shame makes you shrink. Anger makes you argue. And all of it keeps you in the frame they built. They don't need to shout to dominate. They just need to make you feel something strong enough to forget your position. That's the trap. They don't want your cooperation. They want your emotional vulnerability, because that's where control lives. And if you're not conscious, you'll defend yourself against things you never needed to defend. You'll say, "That's not what I meant. Please understand." You'll say, "I just want you to feel okay." And without realizing it, you've entered their emotional field. Now they control the pace, the tone, the outcome. Here's the truth. Emotional control isn't about force. It's about making you question your own clarity, about making you feel guilty for standing still, about making you move just to end the tension. But once you see it, you don't have to play. And the first step to disarming someone emotionally is to recognize they only win if you react. Part 2. The psychology of emotional disarming. Most people don't realize this, but emotional disarming doesn't start with them. It starts with you. When someone tries to control you emotionally, they're scanning for one thing: your response. They want your face to shift, your energy to change, your tone to tremble, your body to react. Once they get that, they know where to press. But what happens? When they press and nothing moves, disarming someone emotionally is not about playing cold. It's about becoming unreadable, because you're not transmitting. No guilt energy, no need to please, no fear of loss, no hidden anger. You're just still, present, grounded, and that stillness breaks their ability to maneuver. Here's why it works. The human brain is wired to seek emotional feedback. It wants confirmation. Did I hurt them? Are they intimidated? Do they care? Are they still attached? Without that feedback, the brain panics. It loses the map. It can't predict the outcome. It starts to scramble. That's what you trigger when you go completely silent. Not just with your words, but with your nervous system. Think of emotional disarming like unplugging a system. They keep flipping switches, but the circuit is dead. They escalate, push harder. raise the volume, shift tactics. But you remain neutral, not defensive, not passive-aggressive, just non-reactive. And that drives them mad, because it reveals something terrifying. They don't actually have power, they just had access. And now, you've revoked it. Emotional disarming is not about control, it's about removal. You remove the option for them to land inside your system. You don't block them, you don't argue, you don't even resist. You just leave, energetically. You let them talk into silence. Project onto stillness. Collapse in the absence of resistance. Because here's the final truth. The one who stays calm controls the room, not through dominance, but through absence of chaos. You're not colder, you're cleaner, you're not louder, you're lighter, and when there's nothing to fight, they realize they're fighting themselves. That's when you win. Part 3. Signs. You're emotionally disarming people without words. You're not always aware when you've emotionally disarmed someone because there's no explosion, no reaction, just a shift in the way they move, speak, breathe. Here's how you know it's happening without saying a word. 1. They keep changing their approach. They start soft, guilt, concern, just checking in. You don't respond. They escalate, sarcasm, passive aggression, emotional bait. Still no reaction. Then they switch. Suddenly kind, then cold, then silent. What's happening? They're probing, searching for the key that used to open you, and when every key fails, they panic. That's disarming. 2. They start over-explaining themselves. When someone feels emotionally blocked, they fill the space with words. They try to make you feel something, try to explain themselves, justify, clarify, loop, but you don't bite. And the more you hold still, the more they unravel, because silence makes people reveal what emotion used to hide. 3. They ask loaded questions. Are you okay? Why are you acting distant? You don't care anymore, do you? These aren't questions. They're fishing lines. They want a pull, a twitch, some sign of emotional access, but you give them nothing, and that nothing is deafening. 4. They mirror their own emotional state onto you. If they feel anxious, they'll say you're cold. If they feel angry, they'll say you're aggressive. If they feel rejected, they'll say you're being cruel. Why? Because your neutrality forces them to confront their own emotions. And they don't know how, so they project and try to make you carry the weight they can't process. 5. They become visibly uncomfortable with your calm. Your silence isn't passive, it's piercing. They fidget, look away, talk faster, repeat themselves, even get angry at nothing, because calmness under pressure isn't just presence, it's power. It's a mirror. And what they see in it is their own lack of control. You're not being rude. You're not being cold. You're simply not offering emotional real estate anymore. They used to live in your reactions. Now they're homeless. And that discomfort, that confusion, that scrambling, it's the sound of someone losing access. Part 4. How to build the internal state that disarms others. Emotional disarming is not about acting calm. It's about becoming unshakable. You can't fake this. You can't perform it, because people don't respond to your words. They respond to your energy. If your stillness is forced, they'll feel the tension. If your silence is angry, they'll feel the spike. true disarming happens when your internal system is absolutely neutral. Here's how to build that internal state. 1. Observe without absorbing. When someone speaks, don't react. Don't evaluate. Don't plan your response. Just watch. Watch their tone. Watch their body. Watch your own internal signals. Let it rise, let it move, let it pass. The moment you absorb, you lose neutrality. The moment you stay outside of it, you stay in control. 2. Anchor into the breath. Your breath is the first thing they try to disrupt. When you feel triggered, your breath shortens. That's how they know they're getting in. So train your breath, slow, deep, quiet. Even when tension rises, stay with it. Calm breath equals unreadable energy, and unreadable energy equals psychological dominance. 3. Dissolve the need to win. The biggest trap is thinking you need to prove something. You don't. You're not here to convince, to explain, to be seen. The need to win is emotional weakness in disguise. True disarming comes from knowing I have nothing to protect and nothing to chase. And that is terrifying to them. 4. Drop the narrative. Stop telling yourself a story about what's happening. They're trying to manipulate me. I need to stay strong. I can't let them get to me. These thoughts create inner tension. And tension makes you visible. Instead, drop all labels. Just observe, just breathe, just be. Let them project, let them dance, let them try. You stay. 5. Train in real time. This is not theory, it's a practice. Start in small interactions, moments of discomfort, confrontations, disappointments, silence. Use those moments to train your internal stillness, not with resistance, but with acceptance, not I won't react. But there's no need to react. This is how you become untouchable, by training your system to remain quiet, even when the room gets loud, by becoming a presence. They can't penetrate, because there's no emotional opening left. You're not cold, you're contained, and that difference is everything. Part 5. Situations where emotional disarming is most effective. Emotional disarming is not just a mindset, it's a weapon, best used in the right moments. You don't always need to fight. You don't always need to speak. Sometimes the most powerful move is silence that pierces through. Manipulation, chaos, and noise. Here are the situations where emotional disarming becomes your greatest advantage. 1. When someone is trying to trigger you, they know your buttons, and they press them. Guilt, insecurity, abandonment. They say what they know, will get a reaction. Don't give them one. Look at them. Breathe. Say nothing. Let their words hit a wall of stillness. The silence will say more than any comeback ever could. 2. When they use emotional outbursts as control. They cry, they explode, they collapse into victimhood. It's a performance, a trap. You're supposed to soften, to give in, to rescue them. Don't. Hold your center. Let the storm pass. Stay grounded, not with cruelty, but with clarity. 3. When they go silent to punish you. You know the game. They withdraw, not to find peace, but to punish. They want you to chase, to beg, to break. Don't move. Let them sit in their own silence. Because you're not reacting to absence anymore, you've made peace with stillness. They haven't. 4. When they try to control the frame. They speak louder, they take over the room. They try to own the space with emotion, but power doesn't need volume. It needs gravity. So you stand still, you breathe deep, you hold eye contact, and you say nothing. They'll feel it. Because presence is louder than dominance. Disarming isn't passive, it's precision. You choose when to hold, when to move, and most of all, when to give them nothing. That nothing is what takes everything from them. Final CTA. You don't win emotional games by out-talking them, by being louder or smarter. You win by staying still, by letting them exhaust themselves against your silence, by refusing to bleed emotion just to make them comfortable. That's emotional disarming. You don't react, you don't defend, you don't explain. You don't give them anything to work with, and suddenly they have nothing to hold on to, because power isn't about control. It's about presence, and your calm, your stillness, your neutrality becomes the one thing. They can't predict, provoke, or penetrate. This is how you reclaim your space, not through noise, but through gravity, not through performance, but through absence of weakness. You become a presence that can't be touched, because there's no entry point left. In the next video, we'll take this even further. You'll learn the art of strategic coldness, how to use emotionless clarity as a weapon of control. No empathy, no warmth, just sharp, precise moves, designed to shift power without ever raising your voice. This is strategic coldness, power without emotion. Because when you can detach completely, you control everything.